I don't know. That's a weird high.
I haven't smoked it.
It's like the neighbor of weed. It's like, I'm weed's neighbor. I'm going to tell you what he kills me.
Come on in. Weed will be here soon. You're like, will it?
It doesn't seem like it has any of the ideas that weed has.
Yeah.
It's like it just repeats weed's ideas. It doesn't do such a good job of telling them. Well, one time when he was 13, his stepdaddy was a real piece of shit. Anyway.
Oh, weed makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You don't want to stay for Delta. It makes you uncomfortable.
It makes me like, well, it's an odd thing. It's weird that they can do that though. It's weird that that's legal.
Yeah.
I bought weed one time in Haarlem from this guy. Can I say that?
Back then it was probably illegal.
Yeah, no. I mean, this was probably 3 years ago.
When did it get legal in New York?
Recently.
Oh yeah, so it was probably illegal then. Still, there.
Criminal.
Yeah, I was doing bad things.
A bad bitch.
But I had always bought from this guy, and I was right before I recorded my podcast. This was when I was living in New York, and I rolled a joint of it, and I smoked it with me, my co-host, our guest, all the producers, and then while we were smoking it, like before the joint was even done, I was like, I'm done. And then I was like, we should do a new segment, and we should rap. And everybody was like, what? And I was like, we should like start rap. I think it would be a good idea if we became like a rap thing. And then I just started going off about rap, and I was like going crazy. And then when we got on, I was like, we have to start the show now because we have to do this thing before the idea goes. And I started getting crazy. And then I'm like breathing all heavy and my heart's racing. And one of the producers who is like, does a lot of drugs, literally said into the mic, I'm the highest I've ever been. And then that's when it hit me that I was like, the weed. Like this is not me. Like I realized something happened, and we were on air already. I was pulling up rap lyrics and dancing to them. And
it's those joints that they sprinkle the THC crystals on.
No, I know exactly what it was.
What was it?
Okay. After I came down and had them almost call an ambulance on, because then I freaked out on the podcast. I cried. I was like, we were looking up the symptoms of fentanyl on the podcast.
No.
Yes, because I was like,
God.
it could be fentanyl. I've never felt like this on weed. And then I looked at the bag, and there was a little bit of cocaine in the bag that he sold me the weed in. So I had smoked
Crack, basically.
crack
Whoa.
and did a podcast, a full podcast trying to be a rapper.
So you would have been a rapper if you had done crack. 100%.
Yeah,
100%. 100%.
I think I would also be a rapper if I did crack.
Rhyme Shank.
That was my nickname for a
Rhyme
while.
Shank, I like it.
I was rhyming. I was like,
Yeah. So
no one could be around me.
Make sure your
That's hilarious.
weed dealer doesn't also deal coke and reuse the baggies.
Imagine if there's like certain drugs that make you want to do certain activities. It's like it's crack and rap or just like, if you ever see like some
Yeah.
lost kid from the suburbs, all of a sudden he starts rapping.
Well, yeah, I smoke weed because
Testing
I'm a
for crack.
comedian. I feel like if I would have drank more, I would have been like a mom.
Yeah, but like
Someone would have gotten me pregnant already.
there's a lot of funny comedians that are drunks.
That's true.
Yeah.
Girls too.
That's true.
That's
true.
it
I feel
seems
like we all smoke weed, most of us.
a lot of it's comedy steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
puts you in like a different state of mind.
That's like what Brody would say. He was like, 90% of comedians smoke weed, 90%, and the rest, they're not funny.
I've gotten some calls from people that like used to be like super straight laced, and then when it became legal in California in like 2016, people are like, "Oh, it's fucking legal. It's
Yeah.
legal. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
Maybe a gummy will help me go to sleep." And then they start
Yeah.
taking them, and they start asking me questions like, "What's the difference between sativa and indica?"
They text you at 4:20. You're like, dude,
Come on, fucking rookie.
come on, man. They're smoking out of apples and shit.
Listen, I was that rookie at one point in time too.
We all were.
Yeah.
We all
In
were.
the beginning, you can't believe people don't know about pot. When you first start smoking weed, you're like, "How is everybody not doing this?"
It's when I first started smoking weed is when I started dating this white hippie dude that had dreadlocks from Portland.
Gus?
No,
Oh.
this was different. And all we would do is get high and eat pies. And I think I gained like 15 pounds because I was just smoking weed with him and eating pies.
Do you guys know the story of Jack Harrer?
Oh, the
Emperor wears no clothes.
the hemp guy.
Yeah, the
yeah,
hemperor,
yeah, the hemperor. Yeah.
Well, he's a famous marijuana activist and researcher, and he wrote this book. This guy was like a Goldwater Republican, and then met this lady, and they were smoking a little marijuana together, hanging out, and like all of a sudden he gets it, and he goes, "Oh my God, this is good for you. Like this is." Like he has all these revelations about it. And then he goes into the history, because he's a very smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, like, how did this happen? And he starts delving into the history of, Harry Anslinger and William Randolph Hearst, and they conspired to make it look like there was this new drug that was causing all these Mexican guys. Excuse me, I got this.
I thought that was the
Zin patches.
I thought that was that the drugs were doing. I was
No, I
like,
wish. They were saying that it was causing Mexicans and black men to rape white women. They were writing stories about this. And then they came out with the Reefer Madness propaganda films and all this calling it marijuana.
they tried to Emmett Till weed.
Yes, that's
Exactly. Marijuana was like a slang for Mexican wild tobacco. It had
and
nothing to
that's
do with
why